My girlfriend posted, "Toxic trait, dating a man who peaked in high school," with a photo of my old football jersey. I commented, "Toxic trait, dating someone you're embarrassed by." Then I packed her things and left them on her sister's porch. What her sister called me and said, "Honestly, fair enough." Original post. I, 27 male, work as an HVAC technician. I got my certification right out of high school, did 2 years of apprenticeship, and now I work for a solid company doing residential and commercial installs. I make $68,000 a year, which in my area is perfectly fine. I own my truck. I rent a decent one-bedroom. I have a retirement account. I pay my bills on time. I'm not flashy. I'm not struggling. I'm just a guy who works with his hands and goes home tired and drinks a beer on the couch, and that's my whole thing. I also played football in high school. Quarterback. I was pretty good, all conference 2 years, led the team to a state semifinal my senior year. I had a couple Division III schools sniffing around, but nothing serious, and honestly, I didn't want to go to college. I knew what I wanted to do, and I did it. The football chapter of my life closed when I was 18, and I haven't lived in it since. But I kept some stuff. My jersey, a couple of game balls, a framed photo of the team from our semifinal run. Normal nostalgia stuff. It's in a box in my closet, not mounted on the wall like a shrine. My now ex-girlfriend and I had been together for about a year and a half. She works in digital marketing for a startup, social media management, content creation, that kind of thing. She's online constantly. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. It's basically her job and her hobby, and sometimes I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. When we first started dating, she thought the HVAC thing was charming. Her word. She told her friends I was rugged and handy, and she liked that I wasn't another tech bro in a Patagonia vest. I thought that was cool. She seemed to genuinely appreciate that I was different from the guys she usually dated. That changed, slowly at first, and then all at once. About 6 months in, the little digs started. We'd be at dinner with her friends, all of whom work in marketing or tech or some vaguely defined creative field. And someone would ask what I do. I'd say HVAC, and she'd jump in with, "He's in mechanical systems," or "He works in climate control engineering." I let it slide the first couple of times. Then one night I just said, "I fix air conditioners, man, and heaters. That's the gig." Her friend laughed and said that's awesome. My girlfriend looked at me like I'd tracked mud on a white carpet. On the drive home, she said, "You don't have to dumb it down like that." I said, "I'm not dumbing it down. That's what I do. I'm not embarrassed by it." She said, "Well, maybe I need you to frame it better for my circle." Frame it better. For her circle. Like my job needed a marketing rebrand. The football stuff started coming up around month 9. She found a box in my closet, pulled out the jersey, held it up, and said, "Oh my God, we're like a football guy in high school." I told her about it. She thought it was cute at first. Then she started making jokes. "My boyfriend peaked at 17. Watch out. He might start talking about the big game. Always in front of people. Always with that laugh that's not really a laugh. It's an audience cue. Like she was performing." I told her once, privately, that it bothered me. She said I was being sensitive and that it was just jokes. Standard deflection. I dropped it because I'm not the type to have the same argument twice. I just filed it away. Then, 3 weeks ago, it all blew up. I was at work, middle of an install. My phone was in my truck. When I checked it during lunch, I had 11 texts from friends. All variations of, "Bro, have you seen this?" and "Is this real?" and "You good?" My girlfriend had posted a TikTok on her personal account, which has like 8,000 followers. She's not huge, but she's not small. The video showed her holding up my old football jersey, my jersey from MY Closet, with that trending audio that goes, "Name your toxic trait." The caption said, "Toxic trait, dating a man who peaked in high school, triangular flag." She was smirking in the video, full performative face. She'd gone into my closet, taken something that was mine, and used it as a punchline for content. And 8,000 people saw it. I sat in my truck for about 15 minutes. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I was just very, very still. You know that feeling when something clicks into place and you realize you've been tolerating way more than you thought? That's where I was. Every rebrand of my job title. Every peaked in high school joke. Every time she flinched when I said, "I fix air conditioners," in front of her friends. All of it compiled into one clear, quiet thought. She's embarrassed by me. She's been embarrassed by me for months. And now she's monetizing it. I didn't call her. I didn't text her in a rage. I went on TikTok, found a video, and left one comment from my account: toxic trait, dating someone you're embarrassed by. Then I put my phone down and went back to work. By the time I got home that evening, my comment had more likes than the video itself. Her followers were in the replies with stuff like, "Oh, he AT," and "Girl, he's done with you," and "This is not the W you thought it was." She turned off comments on the video by that point, but the screenshots were already out. She couldn't put the toothpaste back in the tube. She hadn't texted me. Not once. I think she was hoping I hadn't seen it. Or maybe she was in damage control mode. Either way, silence. I went to my closet, pulled out every piece of her stuff that was in my apartment. Clothes, a hair straightener, a bag of skincare products, 2 pairs of shoes, a phone charger, a hoodie, a picture frame she'd bought for the living room. I put it all in a large plastic storage tub I had in the garage. Neat, clean, nothing damaged. I didn't bring it to her apartment. She had roommates, and I didn't want a scene. Instead, I drove to her older sister's house. Her sister lives about 10 minutes from me, has her own place, and has always been the reasonable one in the family. I put the tub on the porch, rang the doorbell, and walked back to my truck. Her sister opened the door, saw the tub, looked at me in the truck, and called me. I picked up. "Is this what I think it is?" "Yeah, it's her stuff. We're done." Pause. Then, "Was this about that TikTok?" "You saw it. Everyone saw it. I told her not to post it." Another pause. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Honestly? Fair enough." I said, "Tell her I'll drop off anything else I find. And I'd appreciate it if she could mail back my spare key." Her sister said, "I'll handle it. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry." I said thanks. Drove home, made a sandwich, sat on my couch, stared at the wall for a while. Then I took a shower and went to bed. Woke up the next morning to chaos. Update 1, 5 days later. So when I said I woke up to chaos, I meant it. My phone had blown up overnight. Text from her friends, a DM from her mom on Instagram. The full circus. Let me walk through the timeline. My ex finally saw the storage tub at her sister's house around 10 p.m. that night. Her sister had texted her to come get it. According to her sister, who I was still on decent terms with, my ex showed up, saw the tub, opened it, and said, "He's being dramatic. Dramatic." I packed her belongings carefully into a clean container and delivered them to a safe location. But sure, dramatic. She texted me at 10:47 p.m. "Are you seriously breaking up with me over TikTok?" I didn't respond. 11:02 p.m. "It was a joke." You can't take a joke? That's the real red flag here. 11:15 p.m. "You realize you embarrassed me, right?" Your comment has more likes than the video. My followers think I'm a jerk now. That one I actually laughed at. Out loud. In bed. Because the problem, in her mind, wasn't that she publicly mocked me. It was that I responded and her audience sided with me. She wasn't upset about the disrespect. She was upset about the ratio. I didn't respond to any of them. I went to sleep. The next morning I had a DM from her mom. Long message. The highlights. I was throwing away a good thing. Her daughter was just being playful. And here's the kicker. Men who can't handle a little teasing aren't ready for real relationships. I read it, closed Instagram, and went to work. At work, my buddy on the crew had seen the whole thing go down online. He was trying not to bring it up, but eventually couldn't help himself. He said, "Bro, that TikTok. She really did that." I said, "Yeah." He said, "With your jersey? Like, she went into your closet and took it?" I said, "Yeah." He shook his head and said, "My wife would have the locks changed before I got home from work if I pulled something like that." Which is true. His wife does not play. That evening, my ex's best friend called me. Not texted. Called. This is a woman who has never liked me. She once told my ex, in front of me, that she should be dating someone more aligned with her trajectory. When I asked what that meant, she said, someone in a more forward-facing industry. I said, "I face a lot of things. Mostly furnaces." Anyway, the best friend called and went straight into it. "You need to understand the position you've put her in. That comment you left? People are screenshotting it. It's spreading. She's getting DMs from strangers calling her shallow. Her engagement rate is tanking because people are unfollowing her. This is affecting her career. I said, she used my personal property to make fun of me for content. That was her career decision. My comment was 6 words. You could have talked to her privately. She could have mocked me privately. She chose an audience. I gave her 1 sentence in the same venue. This is not the same thing, and you know it. You're right. Her video was planned, filmed, edited, and posted. My comment took 4 seconds. Hers was way more effort. She called me a child and hung up. I went back to watching TV. Now here's where things took a turn I didn't expect. 2 days after the breakup, my ex posted again. A new TikTok. This one was her sitting on her bed, no makeup, soft lighting, sad music playing. The caption said, "When he ends a year and a half over a joke and won't even talk to you about a broken heart." The victim arc. She was speedrunning the "I'm the wounded party" narrative. No mention of the original video. No mention of what the joke actually was. Just, he left me and won't communicate. The comments were split. Some people who hadn't seen the original video were sympathetic. But a lot of people had seen it, and they were bringing receipts in her comments. Screenshots of the original TikTok. Screenshots of my comment. People were writing things like, "Girl, you made fun of him publicly. He's supposed to just take it." And "the missing context is doing heavy lifting in this video." She turned off comments again, then deleted the video, then reposted it without comments enabled. The whole thing was a mess. Meanwhile, I'm just going to work and coming home. I hadn't posted anything, hadn't made a video, hadn't responded to her or her family or her friend. I was just existing, and somehow that was making it worse for her because she couldn't point to anything I was doing. The fallout was entirely self-generated. Her sister called me again that Thursday. She said, "I want you to know I told her to stop posting about this. She's not listening to me. I think she genuinely believes that if she controls the narrative online, she can fix what happened." I said, "She can't fix it because there's nothing to fix. It's over." Her sister said, "I know. I just wanted you to hear that not everyone in my family thinks you're the bad guy." That meant more than she probably knows. Friday, my ex showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. She knocked. I opened the door because I saw her through the peephole and figured ripping the Band-Aid off was better than her standing in the hallway. She looked like she'd been crying. She probably had been. And look, I'm not heartless. Seeing someone you spent a year and a half with standing in your doorway, looking wrecked, isn't fun. It's not satisfying. It just sucks. Can we please talk? Sure. She came in, sat on the couch, looked around like she was taking inventory of what was missing, her stuff, obviously. Then she started. "I know the TikTok was a bad idea. I should have asked before using your jersey. But you didn't have to humiliate me in front of thousands of people. You humiliated me first. To those same people. It was a trend. Everyone was doing it. I didn't think. You didn't think I'd see it? Or you didn't think I'd care?" She went quiet. Then both, I guess. At least I was honest. "I want you to take down your comment," she said. "No, please. My engagement is wrecked. I've lost almost 600 followers. A brand I was talking to about a partnership saw the drama and pulled out. This is real money. You made the video. The consequences are from the video. My comment didn't cause any of this. Your video did. The comment just made sure people knew there were 2 sides. So you're going to just leave it there forever?" "I'm going to leave it there until I don't care enough to think about it, which is almost now." She asked if there was any chance of getting back together. I said no. She asked why I wouldn't even try counseling. I said because this wasn't a communication problem. It was a respect problem. She'd spent months rebranding my job, mocking my past, and performing embarrassment about me for her friends and followers. A therapist can't fix the fact that she's ashamed of who I am. She left, didn't slam the door, just walked out quietly. I think that was the first time it actually hit her that this was real. Update 2, 13 days later. Last update. I promise. This thing has gone on long enough, and honestly, I just want to move past it. The week after she came to my apartment, I thought the dust was settling. She hadn't texted, hadn't posted. Her best friend had gone quiet. Even her mom hadn't sent any follow-up DMs. I figured everyone had accepted the situation and we were all moving on. I was wrong. What was actually happening was a regrouping. The following Monday, I got a text from one of our mutual friends. a guy I play pickup basketball with on Wednesdays. He said, "Hey man, just a heads up. She's been telling people you were controlling during the relationship, that you didn't like her posting on social media, and that you tried to isolate her from her friends." Classic. When the he overreacted angle doesn't work, pivot to he was actually toxic the whole time. I asked him if he believed it. He said, "Dude, I've hung out with you two together a dozen times. You never once told her what to post or who to hang out with. You literally drove her and her friends to that concert when their Uber fell through. You're the least controlling guy I know." I appreciated that more than he knows. But the rumor was out, and it was spreading the way rumors do, quietly, without my knowledge, through conversations I wasn't part of. Over the next few days, I noticed small things. A couple of mutual acquaintances who used to like my Instagram post stopped. A woman in our extended friend group who I'd always gotten along with left me on read when I responded to her story about a restaurant recommendation. Nothing dramatic, just the subtle social distancing that happens when someone's been talked about behind their back. Here's what I decided to do about it. Nothing. And I mean strategically nothing. I didn't post a rebuttal. I didn't call people to plead my case. I didn't confront my ex about the rumors. I just kept living my life exactly the same way I'd been living it. I went to pick up basketball on Wednesday, like always. I went to my buddy's place to watch football on Sunday, like always. I showed up to a mutual friend's birthday dinner and was normal and relaxed and didn't mention my ex once. I let people see me being the same guy I'd always been, and I let them reconcile that with whatever story she was telling. And slowly, not dramatically, not overnight, the math stopped adding up for people. The guy she was describing didn't match the guy they'd known. Controlling people don't show up to social events alone and crack jokes and leave early because they've got an early job the next morning. Controlling people don't respond to breakups by going quiet and moving on. The narrative she was building needed me to be reactive, and I just wasn't. My basketball buddy told me a couple weeks later that the woman who'd left me on read had actually asked him, was he really controlling? Because that doesn't seem right. He told her the truth. She texted me the next day with a normal conversation like nothing had happened. I didn't bring it up. No point. Now here's the part where things got real for my ex, and I'll be honest, it didn't bring me joy. Her sister called me one more time. This was about 10 days after the breakup. She said, "I need to tell you something, and I'm not sure it's my place, but I think you should know." She told me that my ex had been posting the toxic trait content, the stuff making fun of me, because a micro-influencer she admired told her that relatable dating content was the fastest way to grow on TikTok, that the whole mockery angle was a calculated content strategy. She'd been planning to make more videos about me. The football jersey video was supposed to be the first in a series. There was going to be one about my truck when your man drives a work truck and thinks it's a personality trait, one about my job, dating a man whose career peaks at other people's thermostats, and one about how I eat. My boyfriend puts hot sauce on everything like a 12-year-old. A series. She was going to turn me into a recurring character on her TikTok. A punching bag she could ride to 50K followers. Her sister said she found the content calendar on my ex's laptop when she went over to check on her. It was a spreadsheet with dates and draft captions and hashtag strategies. I didn't say anything for a long time. Her sister said, "I'm telling you this because I think you deserve to know it wasn't just a bad joke. It was a plan, and I think it's disgusting." That's the moment that actually hurt. Not the original video, not the comments, not the rumors. It was learning that the person I'd shared a bed with for a year and a half had turned my identity into a content calendar. Every detail about me, my truck, my food habits, my jersey, my career, had been auditioned for mockery, potential, and scheduled for publication. I thanked her sister. She said she was sorry. I said it wasn't her fault. We hung up. I sat with that information for a full day before I decided what to do with it. And here's what I did. The same thing I've been doing. Nothing public. Nothing retaliatory. But I did do one thing. I called 3 people. My basketball buddy, the mutual friend whose birthday dinner I'd attended, and one other close friend in the group. I told each of them, privately and calmly, about the content calendar. I told them about the plan series. I told them that the jersey video wasn't a spontaneous joke. It was episode 1. I didn't ask them to do anything with the information. I just said, I think you should know who you're dealing with. I didn't tell them to spread it. I didn't post it. I didn't even ask for the spreadsheet as proof. I just told 3 people the truth, face to face, and let the information exist. Within a week, it had made its way through the entire friend group. Not because anyone was gossiping maliciously, but because the content calendar thing was so genuinely disturbing that people could not talk about it. The idea that someone would systematically turn their partner into content with a spreadsheet and a hashtag strategy hit a nerve that went way beyond our situation. It made people look at her differently. Not because I asked them to, because the information spoke for itself. 2 of her close friends in the group, women who'd been defending her, quietly stopped posting with her. One of them told my basketball buddy that she'd confronted my ex about the content calendar, and my ex had said, "It's not that deep. Every influencer does it." That response apparently ended the conversation and the friendship. Her follower count, which she'd been trying to protect this whole time, continued to drop. Not catastrophically, but steadily. The brand deal she'd mentioned was gone. The relatable dating content strategy had backfired so completely that her account became associated with the drama rather than the content. She'd turned herself into a cautionary tale in the exact community she was trying to impress. I don't know the full scope of the professional impact, and honestly, I don't want to. I'm not tracking her metrics or checking her page. My basketball buddy occasionally mentions something he's heard secondhand, and I usually change the subject. It's been about 3 weeks since the breakup. I'm sitting in my truck in a parking lot eating a gas station burrito because the job I just finished ran long and I didn't pack lunch. It's cold outside, and the heater in my truck works perfectly because, HVAC technician. At least the career she thought was a punchline keeps me warm. My jersey is back in a box in my closet. I thought about getting rid of it, honestly, not because I'm ashamed of it, but because looking at it now just reminds me of her holding it up with that smirk. But I'm keeping it. That jersey is from the best season of football I ever played, and I'm not letting someone else's disrespect rewrite my relationship with my own memories. The friend group is mostly intact. I kept the people who mattered. A few acquaintances drifted toward her side, and I genuinely don't care. The core group, the basketball guys, the close mutuals, they know the full story, and they stuck around. That's enough. Her sister texted me last week. Just said, "Hope you're doing okay." I said I was. She said, "Good. You deserve better than that." I said thanks. Short conversation, but it meant something. I don't have a victory lap to run here. I didn't destroy her. I didn't go on a campaign. I left one comment on one video, packed her stuff neatly into a tub, and told a few friends the truth. Everything else was gravity. She built something unstable, and it fell down. That's not revenge. That's physics. The only thing I keep thinking about, and this is the part one don't say out loud, is the spreadsheet, the content calendar, because that means every time she looked at me, she was cataloging material. Every time I put hot sauce on my eggs, or drove my work truck, or mentioned a job, some part of her brain was filing it under content. I wasn't a boyfriend. I was a bit. And that's the kind of thing that makes you wonder how long you've been a joke without knowing it. But here's what I know. I'm good at my job. I make an honest living. My truck is paid off. My buddies answer when I call. And I've got a jersey in my closet from a season where I gave everything I had, and it was enough. That's not peaking. That's just living. And I'm not apologizing for it. Thanks for reading. Go be with someone who's proud of you. Life's too short to be somebody's content. Later.